I had a job at 4Kids a few years back. The company did that poorly made Sonic X dub. I didn't care about dubs though. I only wanted the money, and I hated the show anyway. Sonic was dead to me by then. On the internet, I heard a rumor that Sega wanted to continue the horrible Abominated Wreck, but 4Kids refused to give copyright for the show. So it was discontinued. I heard a colleague of mine and the boss talking about the future of Sonic X, and them refusing to give Cosmo, character of the third season, to BioWare. I wanted to ignore the conversation and proceed on copying my papers, when suddenly the word Episode 79 fell. Okay, I hated that anime so much because of that pink hedgehog, Amy Rose, who was constantly chasing after Sonic. With her high-pitched voice, it was just annoying. But I knew there were only 78 episodes. I stopped and walked over to the two, asking about the episode, but my colleague told me they already got rid of it. I shrugged it off and went back to work. At 4 p.m. I could finally go home, but when I passed the trash containers by the facility, curiosity took over me and I peeked inside. I noticed a DVD case without any cover, but a CD inside. I took it out and brushed off some dirt. The DVD had Episode 79 written on it in black permanent marker. Bingo! Found the lost episode. Looking around, I didn't see anyone watching me, so I took DVD case with me. I wasn't really excited about the episode, and hoped it wasn't some stupid sodomy crap polluting my TV screen. I only wanted to pull the episode onto my computer and post it to YouTube to gain some fame. I got home, and the first thing I did was put my bag away and get myself some dinner. For some reason, I was still really hungry. When I came back to work the next week on a Wednesday, I remember the DVD case still lying around somewhere in my living room. I walked over and opened it. It said Project Sonic Episode 79 on it, also with permanent marker. I noticed it was starting to rain. I closed my window to make sure nothing gets wet. After I cleaned the DVD, it was in the trash after all, I walked over to my HD TV and put the DVD inside my DVD player. The DVD started instantly with the well-known intro from the third season of Sonic X. The annoying theme song blared in my speakers. Nothing odd, until I saw that there was actually the Japanese logo instead of the English one. I guess I snagged the non-dub version. I was so glad not to see the fucked up edits 4Kids dared to do. I could understand a lot of Japanese, being a proud weeaboo. I'm sure you knew what I'm talking about. The intro ended with each character posing in a group picture with Eggman in the background. I noticed Chris wasn't in the group picture. I guess it was some tweak, since Chris left in episode 78. Just as the image faded to black, a loud thunderclap managed to cause a power failure. It was only my house, when I asked my neighbors about it. My laptop was still working, since I left it and it now ran on battery. So I manually opened the disk platform, and put the disk into my laptop. Surprisingly, it didn't play the DVD, but showed the insides of it. Computer files. Next to the DVD's main file, I noticed a folder called Preza. Confused by the name of the mysterious folder, I opened it out of curiosity, and it showed an alternate DVD file. When I double-clicked it, it started to play the file, soon to be disappointed by a constant black screen. But I waited patiently for the beginning of the intro, but it didn't come. I've waited about 5 minutes before moving my mouse to close the file.
I did not forget!
Ah! I jumped at the distorted female voice as the screen flashed to red for a split second. I closed out the file. That moment nearly gave me a heart attack. Jeez. The thunderstorm outside my window was getting worse and louder. It was getting closer. Since everything was already shut off, I didn't bother about it and exited the folder to play the original file. I played the intro, Chris still missing. The episode started with Amy and Cream, sitting by a table with Vanilla. Vanilla's Cream's mother, if you didn't know. They were enjoying cake and tea. I was disappointed when Amy was about to cry for Sonic's love again. Jeez. Vanilla suddenly slammed her fist down on the table and leaned close to Amy. You don't know anything about love, you moron. Cream cringed and backed away, Cheese making the usual chow noises. Looking sad as Cream hugged him close. That's how I lost him. That's how she lost who? Oh, wait. I'm sure you know Cream never had a father, thus Vanilla has no husband. I guess it wasn't true love then. Amy taunted Vanilla instead of being reasonable. The camera zoomed in on Cream, who blinked as a flashback started. It was Cream and Vanilla, walking along a park. Cream was holding a picnic basket. After a second, she asked her mother where her father was. Vanilla glared at Cream, who cringed and became quiet. It returned to the current scene with Vanilla, slapping Amy across the face. How dare you speak of... like that? The name was interrupted by the screen going black at that exact moment. I was disappointed. Vanilla continued, Amy now on the floor, staring up at her. He was a hero you will never be. He gave his life for all of us. Amy scoffed and got up, pouting angrily as she dusted her dress off. No one's a bigger hero than Sonic. Vanilla pointed towards the exit. Leave. Amy oddly waved her hand at Vanilla before exiting the building. Cream pleaded for Amy to come back, but the scene already showed Amy walking away from Vanilla's house. Vanilla pulled out a tissue, and she started to cry. Cream walked over, worried about her mother. Vanilla bent down to Cream, gently hugged her, crying softly. Cream looked over at Vanilla and asked the question I had on my mind. Who is my father? As Vanilla sat down and pulled Cream onto her lap, the screen cut to black again. I sighed softly in disappointment, but patiently waited for the screen to return.
I did not forget what you did to me.
Jeez, this time I didn't really jump. It was the same female voice that scared me in the other file, but much calmer and less distorted. It was soft and sounded bad. It was not Vanilla or any other voice actor. I shrugged it off and continued to stare at my black screen. The screen returned to Amy knocking on Sonic's door. Sonic sat up on the couch, his feet on the table. As he heard Amy knock, he groaned and sit up straight. It's her again, he muttered in an annoying tone, as he got up and walked over to answer the door. Sonic, you didn't forget about our date tonight, right? Amy smiled before turning to just walk off. Sonic facepalmed before closing the door again. He walked back, went on the couch sitting down, noticeably sad. He looked up again at something, and the screen turned black again. Oh, come on, I muttered angrily. But I decided to wait again, hoping none of these messages would pop up. But it did.
Murdered me.
The voice whispered this time. A picture flashed for a split second. Being on my computer, I could reverse the player to the exact point when the picture flashed, and I was quite surprised by what I saw. It was Princess Sally. She didn't have a new style or anything. She looked like what she did in the much better cartoon show Sonic the Hedgehog. She was staring at the screen. Her face was bland and empty. She was missing her mouth, and the whole picture had a red tint. Especially her. Now crimson eyes. I snagged a screenshot of it. I imported it to MS Paint and saved it to my computer. I still have the file. It's called Sally PNG. I continued to play the file. It took a while for the screen to return again, and the picture of Sally disturbed me. But also sort of made me happy. Did Sega not forget about Princess Sally after all? The screen returned. It had a faint white border to it to show as a flashback scene. Does anybody remember Rosie the Rascal? The actual sweet little girl before that pink bitch showed up? Yeah. She was walking along the forest, humming a playful tune. I think she was voiced by Cream's voice actor, only using a different voice pitch. Rosie entered a house that I couldn't really recognize. It was a wooden hut with a roof. The camera cut to inside. Most of the things were made of wood. At first, I thought it was supposed to be something tribal, but then I noticed the handheld computer. Nicole, on the small round table. It hit me. The camera cut to Princess Sally, who looked very pretty in the Sonic X style. She was staring out the window.
I hope Sonic will return from his mission soon. I'm worried about him.
Sally's voice was the voice from the messages in the black screens. Rosie stood there, looking at Sally in the background. Are you Sally Acorn? Rosie asked curiously as Sally whipped around, startled by Rosie.
And who might you be?
Rosie's smile faded and her expression was blank. Sally blinked a few times, but she answered anyway.
Yes, I am.
The camera zoomed on Rosie's face. the front shot, which isn't usual. And you love Sonic, right? And Sonic loves you? Sally seemed irritated at that, standing up.
Who are you?
She asked again, sounding unnerved. Rosie didn't stop staring at Sally with those hateful, brownish red eyes. Die. The screen cut to black a final time. Loving Sally, I yelled out with dismay. Why would Sega do this? To me? To Sally? I've waited. Tears welling up in my eyes. Be there. Please, be there. Live. The file ended. I let my head sink down to my own arms, sobbing softly. Sally would never come back. Those bastards at the company murdered her, and nobody would remember her. I stayed that way for a few more minutes, realizing I still had the other file. Hoping Sally would still be alive on it, I clicked the Preza folder and opened the second DVD file. It was the black screen like before. I've waited, still sniffling, being too lazy to blow my nose. The Sally image flashed again.
Sonic.
Sally's voice whispered. Another image flashed across the screen of my laptop. It was the same image, but the white part of her eyes were gone.
Yes.
Another picture of Sally. Now her pupils were missing, leaving her eyes as empty black voids.
No.
The picture stayed this time, following by long silence. I was about to close the file, starting to sob again, but then I noticed the picture was changing. Black, gooish tears ran down Sally's cheeks. Slowly, very slowly. Suddenly, a loud screech interrupted me. A reddish light was now in her pupils, staring right at me. I jumped, and those red pupils followed mine wherever I moved.
Free.
The image disappeared, and the screen went black again. I sighed and looked towards the ground. But soon after I heard the sound of the wind blowing from my speakers, I looked at the screen again. Sonic was there, standing in the middle of a graveyard. He bent down to one of the tombstones, which was empty. The camera showed his sad face and said, "Good night, my princess," in a gentle, loving tone, as he set some flowers beside her tombstone before he left. Right as Sonic was about out of sight, Amy came over, looking down at the empty tombstone angrily. She scoffed. "I can't believe he still won't give up," before she raised her hammer and yelled before smashing the tombstone and the file ended. I sighed sadly and closed the DVD player. When I looked at the files, the DVD files were gone. Instead, there was a text file. I didn't really want to, but I opened it anyway. It said Amy was not supposed to exist. She was created to replace Sally. Enough. I closed the text file in the folder, but I didn't have time to recover. As I was staring at Princess Sally replacing my desktop.
Moving at speed of sound, they try we kiss hedgehog around. Got ourselves a situation, stuck in a new location without any explanation. No time for relaxation. Don't blink, don't think, just go, 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 go.